What's up, replay viewers? Thanks for joining me. As a reminder, you can double tap the screen to leave some hearts. Kim is in the house. Kim, I feel like you're always first in for some reason. Thank you for coming in. Side Hustler, Vinny, Ukulele. I saw Ukulele username. That's awesome. Elevation Eating. I want to know what that's about. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Appreciate it. True Omega. What up, Pat? Sup, Pat? Let me get my light on. Where'd my light go? Ah! There it is. No, that was not it. Did my light burn out already? Oh, there it is. Hey guys, good evening or good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Speaking of, let me know where you guys are listening in from. I appreciate you. I have a ton of gadgets, yes. You can see a number of things back there. Kimra is in the house. Thank you, Kimra. Hello, Stephanie. Good to see you. Lat. Jeremy Jones is in the house. Dating Doc. Chicago. What up? Alabama. NYC. Denton. Arizona. A lot of U.S. people. Anybody else? Canada. Oh, UK. Awesome. Oregon. Actually, let me put on my little wide angle lens here. Bam. You can see more of what's behind me because that's more interesting than my face. I want to give a shout out to Sean Stevenson from the Model Health Show, one of the podcasts I listen to. Hello from San Jose, Denton, Texas as well. Oh, do you guys know each other? That's awesome. 5 a.m. here and doing my morning ritual, but I'll let you interrupt. I apologize about that. Feel free to do your morning ritual. I know how important that is. Oahu. Nice. Aloha. Another New Zealand here. Hi, it's Tina from Sydney. Hi, Big Pat. I don't see a Big Pat. I see a small Pat, but what's up? Sup? Care from the VA. Cool, guys. Thank you so much. So in this scope, I'm going to go over 10 quick hit tips so you can have better scopes for you too. Obviously, you guys are on Periscope because you're watching this right now. If you're watching the replay, maybe you're not on Periscope yet, but this will help you get an edge over your competition and just to have a better experience for you and also your viewers. It's really important to make sure that you bring your A game here. And yes, it's nerve-wracking. It could be like sweaty palms and you're just very scared to get started and hit that broadcast button. But it's one of the coolest things that's out there right now because it allows you to engage and interact with your audience. It's also great training for the webinars that you might do in the future or podcast episodes or that you might record for your YouTube channel. Yo, Pat, Aaron, cool. 180 people in the room. If you want to help bring people in, you can swipe if you're on ice or scroll up or down, and then you can share this with your followers. That would be pretty awesome. And also, as a reminder, tap the screen a couple times. That means that you are leaving some hearts and showing me love, so I appreciate that. So true. Hashtag brave. Yes, hashtag brave. It is brave to do a Periscope, but it's also, you got to think of the value you can provide and what would happen if you could possibly help somebody out and you didn't because you were just too scared. That's what always gets me through a lot of things, especially with podcasting and getting on stage too. I know I can deliver a great message on stage, but I'm always so nervous. But what gets me through is making sure that I realize that it's not about me. It's about the people in the audience. And this is so true for those speaking stage, those who are doing podcasting, blogging, periscopes, whatever it is. The people on the other end watching you, they don't want you to fail. They want you to do a job. They're rooting for you. They don't want to waste their time there, right? So they're rooting for you. They want you to do a good job. They don't want to see you fail. And you know what? If people start to heckle you and that sort of thing, don't worry about them. Those aren't the people who you should be caring about. Every second you waste on somebody like that is a second that you are not giving to somebody who actually matters. So hopefully, yes, anti-scared is what I think you hope to say. Periscope is a great community, and I love it. So a few things I'm going to go over really quick. Again, I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. You can watch the replay as well. I want this to be fairly quick so that people watching the replay will just get right into it too. But I think we talked about a lot of the important things that need to happen in here before you start your scope, and that's not even included in the top 10 here. So let's get right into it. Actually, first of all, let me ask you guys, how many of you are actually regularly doing periscoping right now? If that is you, type in me. I want to know who in this room is actually doing periscopes on a regular basis. Maybe not super consistent, but you are doing them every so often. So me. Wow, a lot of people in the room. That's awesome. So great. So you guys are probably just as qualified to help everybody else here who is watching this with their periscopes that are coming up. So great. Over 220 people in this room. Not yet. Great. So you guys are going to get started on the right foot. Now, the first thing that I want to mention, this is tip number 1, and that is to make sure you interact with your audience, because you could talk and just look at this little bubble here on your phone all the time and not even pay attention to who's in the room, and that's not what Periscope is all about. You could do that on YouTube, right? This is about interaction, so talking to your audience, and there's a lot of different ways to do this in a very simple way to have your audience engage with you. One is just to make sure you ask questions, because if you don't ask, you don't get, and it's one of the easiest ways to ask questions. Another great way I like to frame a question is actually to have a fill in the blank and have you guys all fill it out. So if I were to say, for example, I ate blank for dinner, fill in the blank. This obviously works very well on Facebook and Twitter as well, but here it works too. So I ate blank for dinner. What did you eat for dinner? Chicken wings, yes. Buffalo wings, I hope they're buffalo wings. Burritos, multiple camera, that's pretty crazy. Meatloaf, see, I didn't even ask you to answer that, and already you're filling in the blank, because blanks, for whatever reason, it's like leaving a sentence unfinished. People have to answer it. I don't know if you watched a game show, and if you've watched a game, or say me if you've watched a show alone ever. Have you ever watched a game show by yourself? I watch shows by myself all the time. And for whatever reason, and you do this too, if you need the answer to something, you will say it out loud. And it doesn't matter if anybody else is in that room, you're going to say it out loud. Why? Because we love to know we know the answer, right? It feels good when we get right. You're watching Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune and you guess that vowel, and it's like, yeah, it's ease, yes. You feel like you're on top of the world, shouting the answers out. Nobody's going to hand you money. You're not going to win anything at television. But yeah, so one of the other tips I want to share with you of interaction is to ask not just questions in general, but ask for a specific answer. If I were to tell you, for example, if I were to ask you, for example, what's the number 2 search engine in the world? We all know Google is number 1. What's number 2? There's a specific answer to that, and everybody in this room who has the answer to that is going to be quick to answer it, and you see them come in right now. So it is. Kim got it right. YouTube is actually the number 2 search in the world. See, here they come in, and so you could see if you ask a question like that where there's a specific answer, you can get people to respond, engage, and even though it's a little thing, the more you train the audience to engage and interact, the more they're going to do that in the future, the more enjoyable it's going to be for you as a producer of a Periscope session, but also the more enjoyable it is for everybody else in the room as well. There's a quick story I want to tell. Steve Spangler, he used to run a Jeeves is that even still exist? I remember that, at Jeeves.com. So ask specific questions. Yeah, we're still actually talking about tip number 1. This is interactions. Another thing I like to do, I'll get a story about Steve Spangler later, but another thing you could do is have your audience rate something. So if I were to say, how would you rate your mood right now? I do this all the time because I want to make sure people who are kind of at the 3 or 4 level, they come out with a 10 at the end of the Periscope. So if I were to say, how would you rate your mood right now? 1 being you feel terrible, you're just having a terrible day. You see, I didn't even ask the question all the way through, and you guys are already answering. So it's a great way because it's very simple. What's the answer? Well, it's just 1 click of a number. And again, it's a great way to train your audience to be able to interact with you as well. Sleepy, that's a good one as well. So on a scale from 1 to 10, any sort of question that you can ask on a scale to 10, what do you think of my hairstyle? Here come the Tuesdays. So yeah, there's that. And of course, I watched a lot of Periscopes. A lot of people who start the show often ask, well, where are you from? And people always love to tell 10s. I got 10s and 9s. 2, just lost your wallet. That sucks. I'm sorry about that. See, here come more numbers. So numbers are great. Super easy, simple answers. Fill in the blanks. These are all great ways to interact with your audience. So hopefully, if you leave now, you at least got something from what we already talked about. Okay, so number 2. Energy. You need to come with some energy because nobody loves to watch anything that's boring, right? And we are at an age now where if something is there and it's not entertaining us, it's not, something we want to watch, we can easily just click out. Periscope, you just got to push a couple buttons and exit out of there, right? You've got to bring some energy. And there's a few Periscopers out there. I mean, there's a lot of Periscopers out there that bring their A game in terms of energy, and they bring it. And I feel like I do a pretty good job. I feel like it takes me a few minutes for me to kind of get the feel and get in my mojo when it comes to getting the energy. But I get a lot of inspiration from the comments. But there's a couple Periscopers out there that have a lot of energy. Would you like to name them? This is another interaction thing. Do you want to call out anybody who you know that you've watched on Periscope that brings a lot of energy to their scopes. Maybe we can all learn from each other here. There's one person that I have in mind. I'm waiting for somebody to, because I know that this person always brings energy. He also brings his Hanukkah as well. I don't know if you guys know that. Chris Ducker, yes. Shalene and Derek, Lizzie, absolutely. Cardone, great. Jeremy Houston, Internet Business Mastery, Ducker. Yeah, Siege Glitter, absolutely, he's amazing. Johnson again. So you can hear his names, and it's because because there's energy, they are being able to attain, to provide value, to educate, and also inspire at the time. So those are the things that you can do to get energy. So how do you bring energy? Well, it's up to you. I can't tell you got to drink a cup of coffee, because some of you don't drink coffee. I'm not going to say, well, you got to get 8 hours sleep, because I don't even get 8 hours sleep. What you have to do is figure out what works for you in terms of getting that energy. And it's going to be different for everybody else. But thank you guys. I appreciate it. What's up, guys? Thank you for coming in. So again, for those of you who are brand new right now, we are talking about, and again, tap the screen if you like what you hear. That's how I know that what I'm saying is actually working and it's making sense. So tap the screen for some hearts. Thank you guys for that. But we're talking about the top 10 quick hit Periscope tips that you can use to really make the most out of your time on Periscope. Because let's face it, these Periscopes are pretty addicting. You say you're going to do them for 10 minutes, and they actually turn into an hour. So you want to make that time as useful for you and for everybody else watching as possible. You don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste anybody else's time. So let's keep going with the content. Tip number 3, get seen. Get seen. Now that sounds kind of weird, right? Like, of course we need to get seen. Well, how do you get seen on Periscope? Well, there's a number of ways to do it. Obviously, make sure that when you broadcast, you are sharing with your Twitter followers. You can even kind of warm up your audience beforehand. Even on an email, if you have an email list, you can say, hey, I'm going to go live at this time. Michael Hyatt does a great job of that. He makes sure that people download the app and subscribe beforehand so they get that notification. That's great. That's always going to help you get seen. But there's 2 important things to talk about in terms of getting seen. And the first one is actually your headline. The headline, the text that you write in your broadcast area before you start broadcast is really, really important, because that is what people are going to reverse. And if it's compelling, if it brings curiosity, if people want to know what it is, they're going to want to do. So you can use this thing called the stop, where you actually tell what it is, but not exactly everything, because they're going to want to be curious about it. So of course, something like this is easy. Top quick hit Periscope tips. Everybody here uses Periscope, so of course this is for you guys. And you notice a lot of influencers here, they once in a while do a Periscope-rated feed here, or it ends up being one of the popular, and it's because all watching Periscope, right? So hopefully it'll bump up some of the hearts, and obviously help introduce some of you if you're new. But the headline is important. So I actually spend about minutes at least on what I'm going to say before, and it's really important to do, because that extra 5 minutes take to craft the copy is really going to help you moving forward in terms of getting people to actually click through. So the first thing is you have to interrupt them for what they're doing, which Periscope does a great job of doing. Some of you already said that I interrupted you today, so hopefully this is going to be worth it. But then they make a decision. Wow, is this something that I should actually pay attention to, or is this something I shouldn't pay attention to? JMA Universe says, how long have I been on Periscope? About 2 months now. And so I've been studying it, I've been learning, and actually putting a lot of things to the test, and I have some other things that I'm going to mention, things that I experimented with that worked out very well. The first thing, headline. Make sure you spend time on the headline. Should use the hashtag headline. Currently, it doesn't really get any extra viewers. Like, I can't type in on Periscope hashtag Periscope and find the other Patscopes that way. Plus, disappear after 24 hours. But the hashtags do work on Twitter, and they actually have been helpful for me to engage with me afterwards to see actually who shares these scopes. So I actually follow the hashtag Patscope, and I can see, like on Twitter right now, for example, if I were to go to Twitter, I got to open it up, but I have a column on TweetDeck that is specifically for hashtag Patscope, so I can see who shares this and who interacts with it. For example, Rustin Beck, 42 seconds ago, said he's watching this live. Yusuf, Scott, Brandon Starnes, David Brook, D, Jeremy Jones, now Jen, and Jeremy, the other Jeremy Channelis just mentioned it's on Twitter. So I can give him shout-outs, and I can follow the Patscope on Twitter. So that's really helpful. So that was a great question, actually. The other thing in terms of getting found is your image. Now, not image like, oh, what do you represent, but literally the image that people see with the Periscope, and a whole bunch of people are sharing this now, so thank you for that. Scott, Vera, Kirby, Tom. Wow, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. See, again, when you call out people's names, they are like all over it in terms of sharing and taking action. So that's, again, another interaction tip, going back to tip number 1. Call out people's names. The most beautiful sound to a person's ears is their own name. Dale Carnegie from How to Win Friends and Influence People. People love to hear their names, so do the best you can to call out people's names. This is a webinar tip. This is a podcasting tip when you're talking about your fans or people who leave reviews. This is a Twitter tip, and of course a Periscope tip as well. Thank you for sharing, Jason and Per and Ani and a few other people as well. Tim, cool. Let's see. The image. The image is really important. So what happens is Periscope creates a thumbnail that is literally the first couple seconds of your scope. It just takes that, whatever it is you're looking at, and then makes that the thumbnail. Is that going to change? Perhaps. But for now, whatever it is that your phone or device is looking at through not the selfie lens, but the other one. So you kind of have to point to something interesting. And what I'll do typically is when I start a scope, I find something interesting. If it's related to the topic, great. If not, I just find whatever. Like one time I was sitting at Starbucks and there was a really cool detail. I'm an architect, or I used to be an architect. There was a really cool detail on the umbrella that I was sitting under, and I just pointed it at that. And that became a really cool thumbnail that stood out amongst the other thumbnails out there. So those images are great. And thank you guys for who are summarizing this for everybody else too. I really appreciate that. And I'm going to, again, summarize as we go along too. So number 1, make sure you interact with your audience. Number 2, bring that energy and know what makes you energetic and brings that energy to your scopes. Number 3, double header here, make sure your headline is great and your image makes, it doesn't necessarily need to make sense, it just needs to be compelling and look different. You know, a lot of times I've gone on scopes where it's literally a picture of a wall because people have their selfie thing ready, but the other camera is just looking at a wall. So anyway, okay, number 4. Equipment. Now, you don't need specialized equipment. Of course, you need a device to run Periscope, and that's literally all you need. There's a great built-in microphone on the iPhone, and in most Android phones, there is a camera, and that's all you need. But if you wanted to step your game up a little bit, you can use a lot of the things that I use. For example, I use this Rode Smartlav microphone. And this is really cool because this attaches inside your headphone jack and actually acts as a microphone, and it sounds very decent. It's a Rode Smartlav, Smartlav, works on both iOS and Android. You can find that on Amazon. Most of these things you can find on Amazon. I also use a Manfrotto tripod to hold this up, and then this is actually very helpful and saves my wrists. If I'm ever at an event somewhere, I can just move this around really easily. I can actually take this off right now and show you. So this is what that looks like. And this little attachment is something you can find which fits into a phone. Glyph, G-L-I-F or G-L-I-P-H, they make these kind of adapters that you can put on tripods like this. But again, this is Manfrotto. I just push this button. I can change the angle of the head very easily, and then I can screw any phone in no matter what size using this connector here. I also have this Olo clip, which is really cool. So it changes the viewing angle. So this is, as you can see, the wide angle lens. So you're able to see a lot more behind me. This is very helpful if you are with other people or in a space where whatever it is that's behind you looks great. So if you're in a landscape area or if you're at a concert or something, put on this Olo clip, you get to see more of what people are actually wanting to see. Who wants to see a talking head the whole time? I mean, yes, you're seeing me, but you'll see in some of these other tips, I will be moving around. And then the other side of this Olo clip, GLIF. This is the fisheye lens, so this gives you a really cool effect, kind of like a hero cam or a GoPro. Now I like to do the selfie on the wide-angle lens, and if I ever have to share my screen, I'll do the fisheye. Just for whatever reason, it's easier to read, I feel. So I'm going to turn this around, and here's another tip. If you're going to flip between the front camera and the back camera, pause for a little bit because it can cut off whatever it is you're saying. So I'm going to flip now. Okay, and then now you're able to read a lot of this. So there's my direct messages. There's you guys there, Jacqueline, Christy, Melissa, Red A just shared this too. That's cool. Per Jason, so that's you guys. So it's a little bit easier to read in that case. Plus, okay. Bam. Smooth transition, yes. So equipment. Now, if you want a list of all the equipment that I use, you can go to smartpassiveincome.com/periscope-gear. Again, that's smartpassiveincome.com/periscope-gear. And that'll list all these things, and this, just so you know, they are affiliate links. And they're actually using a cool tool called GeoRiot. So this is a cool tip for those of you who do affiliate marketing, especially for products on Amazon. GeoRiot lets me place an affiliate link, and I use GeoRiot to then get another special link so that when people click on that GeoRiot link, no matter what country they're from, it's going to give me a commission. So typically, for example, if you have if I'm, maybe I'm an affiliate, which I am, for this boogie board, which I write on. I write all my notes and prepare all my notes on this, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if I were to share this on Amazon, normally I'd be like, oh, go to this link, and that would drive people to the U.S. Market, the U.S. Amazon page. And if people are watching overseas, which I know a lot of you are, you're going to be taken to the U.K. store or the Italy store, the India store, or whatever. And that is going to, if you purchase, I'm not going to get that commission because I'm just an associate with Amazon in the U.S. So use, you can go to smartpassiveincome.com/periscope-gear. You can see what that link looks like, the GeoRiot link, and that's a tool you can use to create one link that anybody in any country you'll get a commission from. Now, you do have to sign up as an associate in those different countries, and they always, and they actually also hook up with iTunes, so you can be an affiliate for iTunes stuff as well. So what is this boogie board? So this is called the boogie. This is called the boogie board. This is another piece of equipment that I have yet to add to that page, actually, which I probably should because a lot of people ask about this. This is a sink, and this is like their latest model. You can get it on Amazon, I believe, for like 60 or 70 bucks. Please verify that for me. But it is called the boogie board, and what this allows me to do is I can write on it. You've probably seen these at toy stores now. They sell them at toy stores. You can write on it, and then you can, this one's cool because I can save it. If I press that, it saves to the hard drive built in on this thing. It's sold out on Amazon. Yeah, that's funny because I think that happened right after I mentioned it on one of my previous scopes. 268 people in here. Thank you so much. If you're new, we are going over Periscope tips to help you with your next Periscope. And again, that's another tip. People come in new in the middle of your presentations here, and I'd like to see them as presentations. That's how I feel about them, because we are presenting stuff right now. And you have to remind people where you're at and what you're doing and quickly go over what you've just done. So again, thank you for the hearts. I appreciate you guys who just came in new. Tap the screen to show some love. So equipment, smartpassiveincome.com/periscope-gear. And again, this is not on that page, but this is really cool because I can save it to the hard drive on here, then just use a USB connector to extract that, which is really cool. I have a lot of my kids' drawings on here saved, which is really cool. And then also I can just erase it really quick and start writing again. So I actually use this thing every single day, especially when I do podcast interviews. It's what I take notes on, so on and so forth. All right. Recaps are essential. Says Lean Green Girl. Yes, absolutely. So let's recap for those of you who are new. Again, 268 people. You guys are awesome. I think there's a few of you who might not be able to comment, and I apologize about that. And once it gets over around 220 to 250 people, some people who are watching aren't able to comment, unfortunately. But thank you for sticking with me. So far we have done 4 tips. 1, interact with your viewers. Do things like ask questions, ask them to rate things, ask them where they're from, ask them to answer a specific question where there is a specific answer. You're going to get more interaction when you do that. Number 2, bring the energy, or else people are going to be bored and leave, which they can do very easily. So again, I'm super thankful you guys are sticking with me here. Number 3, make sure that you focus on both the headline and the image, things that are going to help you be seen on Periscope before people even begin to listen to you. Number 4, the equipment. That link is smartpassiveincome.com/periscope-gear. Can I ride the waves with this boogie board? Whee! Probably not. And I'd probably lose all my data. So I don't want to do that. That's weird. Okay, number 5. This is really important because I think a lot of people make this mistake, or I know a lot of people make this mistake. Let me unplug my battery here. Side tip, get a backup battery. I'm really lucky because in my office here I have a USB thing. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me switch it. So in my office here, which is really cool, I'll do an office tour one day on Periscope, but I have these USB cords here which make it really easy. So I can just plug it right in, boop, and then you guys are there until my battery won't die. So backup battery, especially if you're on the go doing Periscopes, very, very, very useful. Okay, here's tip number 5. Move around. Move around. This is really cool. Now, you don't want to just, make sure that you are steady with the camera. Sorry, I don't want to give you guys a headache. But when you move around, it makes it so interesting to look at because my face is in the same spot, but everything behind me is still moving. And it becomes a very visual thing. Again, like I said earlier, nobody wants to see a talking face the whole time. So show off your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Like if I were to do an office tour, I could be like, oh, this is my whiteboard. It's actually made of glass. And then here behind me are some thank you notes that people have sent me. Some people have drawn things for me. Somebody sent me their first, where is it? The first money they made online, they ended up sending me that same amount because they were so thankful, so on and so forth. You know, move around. Here's me presenting at New Media Expo in 2013 in front of hundreds of people. And this is actually an acoustical soundboard, which is really cool. You know, people love to see what is going on. Now, at the same time, and this is, some of you might know this through acting school, you know, you don't want to ever turn your back. Like, how rude is this? This is super rude. Who wants to see the back of your head, right? So if you're presenting, do your best to kind of do the weatherman thing. And you know what I mean by the weatherman or weatherwoman thing? It's like, you know, you can see what's going on because it's your face. So you can point to things. It might take a little practice, but this up here, it's going to be cloudy in the afternoon, but then it'll clear up in the evening, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, MTV Crib style, you know, show off some fun things. This is the cool thing about Periscope. It doesn't have to be super formal. I could really easily just show you weird things like that. And you know, things like that are great. Things that bring out your personality. You know, I love, I have to show you guys this. Sorry, there's a little bit of a tangent. But I just got this in the mail today from Pencils of Promise. Let me turn this around for you. Again, it's always good to warn people before you're turning around. So this is from Pencils of Promise, and this is a report of the school that we built together. Now check this out. This was made possible by Pat Flynn. The dedication is here for you and each other thanks to the kindness of the SPI community. And that's literally a plaque that sits on this school in Ghana, Africa, that reads those words, SPI community. That's you guys. And we can see that currently there's 186 students in the school and 3,720 students that this school will impact. And yes, we built two. And I say we because we did that together in a campaign last year. Elon Musk. Awesome. Okay, so move around. That's tip number 5. Move around, show your surroundings. Be open to sharing things about where you're at, because that's the cool thing about Periscope. I mean, this isn't the first time live streaming was available. There was live stream, Ustream, there was blog TV, and all these other things where people were watching people live, but they were always at the same angle on the desktop webcam. You know, the webcams that used to look like a ball with an eye in the middle? That's what they all were. But now we're on Periscope, and we can move around, and everybody can see everything that's going on behind us. And that's the cool thing. It's what's happening now and where, and that's the cool thing. Okay, who said we should scope in landscape? Periscope is actually coming out with that feature. I heard that in an interview. It hasn't come out yet, but it's happening. Blog TV rocked, yeah. Seriously, great room, love it. Thank you, Jacqueline, I appreciate that. Am I using a fisheye lens? Currently, I am using the wide angle, but if I turn it around, it is a fisheye because the Olo clip on the other end has the fisheye capability. So move around. There you go. Okay. Tip number 6. Tip number 6 for those of you who are looking to increase your Periscope usage, results, engagement. Specialized shows. Plan your shows ahead of time. Now, you don't have to get super scripted. You don't want to script. You don't want to read off a teleprompter. That would just be ridiculous on a Periscope. You know, you want to rely on yourself and your experience, and just, it's going to take some time to be comfortable with doing things on the fly. However, if you're talking about something you know about, it's very easy because it's as if you're talking to a friend about this something. And it doesn't have to be super formal. If you say and you pause a little bit, that's fine. Just keep going. That's the main thing. But have specialized shows. I write down bullet points too, Jared. Jared writes down bullet points. I write down bullet points too. As you can see, I wrote them down here on my boogie board. Now, number 6, specialized shows. Now, planning ahead of time is great. Writing bullet points is great. But you can even make it more niched of a particular show by specializing them. Now, what I mean by that is you could have one particular scope that's dedicated to, and I did this before, I read certain passages from this book, The One Thing by Jay Papasan and Gary Keller. And I bookmarked the things I wanted to read, and I highlighted them, and I read out a certain passage, and then I started talking about it. And people really enjoy that. People hadn't really seen anything like that before. It's making me consider doing that more often with my book club that I have. You can find my book club at patsbookclub.com. Actually, there's a new book that I highlight every single month that I read, and there's exclusive deals on there for you as well that come out every once in a while, and that will be promoted, not promoted to, but the link to that will be promoted more in the future, so we can grow that list as more for more people. Again, patsbookclub.com. So a reading, I did a special reading. Another time I read a blog post that I just published. I read it, but I didn't read it word for word. I read certain passages and then I explained it, and then I started to interact with people about that too. Thank you guys, Nicole, MVP Jen, for sharing that link. I appreciate that, for patsbookclub.com. And that's just a GoDaddy link that I just bought literally 2 days ago that forwards to where you can sign up for my book club. So reading a blog post, a recap on something you just did. Maybe you did a podcast episode and you want to just summarize it and things like that. Unboxing. Now, I got to tell you, some of the most popular YouTube channels out there, literally channels of people opening cardboard boxes that they've gotten from Amazon or wherever it was shipped from, and they open it. And they get super detailed about, wow, look at this packaging, it's awesome, look at the packaging peanuts, they're green in this box. And then they open this device, and sometimes it's electronic, sometimes it's some other device. These are some of the most popular videos on YouTube, these unboxing videos. Undressing text, as Lynn Rose. I love that. Can you put scopes on YouTube? Yes, but you have to record them in some way, shape, or form, or save them to your phone and then drop them in some point. Chris has a great tutorial on that. On Ducker Scope, I believe he has it on his YouTube channel on exactly how to take these scopes and put them properly onto YouTube, which is really cool. But these unboxing videos, oh man, people will go crazy, and I go crazy. If there's something new coming out, I just am in love with them. Now, why do people love watching those? Well, actually, here's going back to my interaction tip. Let me ask you, why do you think people love unboxing videos so much? Again, this is another tip, going back to number one. Allow your audience to share what they feel the answer is. Love them. It's like Christmas. Yes, even though you're not opening them, it's like Christmas. God only knows, says the real Charlie Zero. It feels like Christmas. Like Christmas. Wow, that's like the fourth person who said that. My kids love them. It's fun and informative. Really inboxing? No, unboxing. Morning, Pat. Nice scopes, dude. Thanks. I appreciate that. Curiosity. Yes, looking forward to it. You see what to expect. Thank you for mentioning that, 0120 Zwid. I don't know if that's how to pronounce that. Living vicariously, yes. So you guys are all hitting on the most important things. Raw and real. They get to see what they're interested in before they get it themselves. And this is something that you should be doing with your own products that you sell on your website. Obviously sharing what's inside. You would do that with your own products, right? Of course, you should, because you want to have people know what they're going to get before they get it, right? Do that with affiliate marketing too. If you are sharing something that is somebody else's product or another company's product, and you make a commission from it, why don't you treat it like your own product? Share everything there is on the inside. People are going to be more likely to be impressed by that. Do your own unboxing videos. Now on Periscope, this is the perfect platform for unboxing. I can imagine a channel that is just dedicated to unboxing. If I wasn't already doing what I was doing right now, not like this Periscope right now, but in terms of my entire business, I would dedicate an entire Periscope channel to unboxing. And I'm going to show you how cool this is. I got this in the mail today. I got this in the mail today. You might have seen this on my Instagram channel, but let me open this up for you. This came in the mail today. Are you guys ready? I don't know why I'm singing the theme from Independence Day. I absolutely don't know where that came from. But this is a Heil PR40 microphone in gold. Oh, look at that. It's so beautiful. And honestly, I'm still baffled about why I was singing Independence Day. But this is a Heil PR40, and this is my other Heil PR40. I met the Heil guys. Look which one's cooler? Bling bling or wah wah? No, I'm just kidding. This mic has served me very well. But look at, like, you guys are watching this and going crazy right now, right? And it's fun, it's entertaining, it's like Christmas, and you guys should be doing unboxing videos as well. So that's another type of specialized scope you can do. Another one, Q&A. Hey guys, we're going to do Q&A for the next 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to answer as many questions as I can. Now, when you do a Q&A, you want to mention right up front and, again, throughout the middle of your scope, because people are going to come in new. And, again, thank you to those of you who came in new just now. We're going over 10 tips to help you rock out your next scope. And and we're talking about specifically different kinds of scopes you can do. So we talked about, actually reading parts of a book and then talking about it, or if you write blog posts, talking about it, summarizing these things that you just experienced and talking about it, giving people an in on this. Unboxing videos, Q&As are great too. Q&As, if you're going to do a Q&A, especially if you get a lot of people, it's going to be important for you to mention that you won't be able to get to all of them. And I think that makes it much better when people don't get their questions answered. It's impossible to answer everybody's question. I'm totally missing out on a lot of questions that are coming in here. Would you do coaching calls via Scope? Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if there would be a way to privatize them. That's the only thing. And maybe if you were doing coaching calls like Chris does with his website reviews publicly, which then drives leads into other things, and that's fine. But if you're doing it for somebody who's paying, it's going to be hard to kind of make it its own thing, unless you were to create, I'm just thinking out loud here, unless you were to create a private Periscope account that's not attached to you, but it's just a kind of a weird unknown screen name that people can watch. And the only thing about that is people are going to still be able to find that anyway. There might be a way to invite people, somebody says. Cool, thank you guys. You can just invite individuals. Cool, thank you guys. See, again, this is the power of the community here. You guys know a lot more than I do too, which is cool. Another thing, behind the scenes, every Sunday night I record my first of 5 episodes that I am recording for my Ask Pat podcast. So I bring people in, I walk them through the process. People love those Sunday night Ask Pat episodes. How many of you have been on one of my Ask Pat recording sessions behind the scenes? And if you have been, what do you like about them? What is it about the behind the scenes things that you enjoy the most? I mean, for me, it almost reminds me of those, in every DVD I buy or every show I watch or movie, I love watching the behind the scenes stuff or the director's cut where they're actually talking about them. Kimra was on all of them. Insider Info, says Tiffany. I will now. Lord, my phone is down to 10%. No, I'm sorry, Kara. I haven't, but curious now. So yeah, every Sunday night around this time, I do a recording of my Ask Pat episode. I play the voicemail from the audience that comes in. I answer that question. I actually walk people through how I take bullet point notes and how I answer that question, and then through the editing process really quick before I ship it off to Dropbox. So again, thank you for those of you who come on to all of them. They are a lot of fun. And again, thank you to Robert and Desdemonia and another person named Pat and Jacqueline again for sharing this on Twitter. I'm following you guys on my stream right now. It's kind of cool to have that open too. But the behind the scenes people love, and it doesn't matter what you do. People love to know what's going on. I mean, this is why we watch and love shows like How It's Made. My son is obsessed with it. Always pay attention to what a child is interested in, because they have this knack for understanding what is actually mattering or what matters. Obviously, my grammar is not mattering right now, but you know what I mean. Okay. Now, another thing you could do is a reverse Q&A. So this is where not you are asking me questions and I answer them, but I actually ask you questions and you answer them. So you could do this on a fun level, or you can do this on a serious level. Not serious like let's talk about dark things, but what I mean is serious like, okay, I'm gonna ask these questions to collect some good information from you. And the nice thing about Periscope, especially in the first 24 hours, obviously, you can rewatch them. And even though you might miss some of the answers if you're asking important questions, like for example, if I were to ask you guys, go to my homepage. Don't do this, but I'm just using this as an example. You can use this yourself if you'd like. You can go to my website, go to my homepage, and tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. What is one criticism you have? What's your first impression when you come to my website? I dare you to ask people watching Periscope the next time you're doing a scope to do that. Go to my homepage and tell me in 1 or 2 words, what do you think about my homepage? Your mind is going to be blown away. And expect that it's not going to all be positive either. But it's positive in the sense that that's going to be really important, because those are things that people are going to think about when they come to your site. So yeah, totally brave and it's vulnerable, but that's what makes you a human. And if you share with your audience that, hey, you know what, I'm not perfect, I want you to help me, let's get involved, like that's a win for everybody, right? And yes, they might say some things that you don't want to hear, but it's actually stuff you need to hear. So that's another thing you can do as well. So hopefully that's a great idea here for you guys. So again, reverse Q&A, and that one example, ask the people who are on the scope with you to tell me in 1 or 2 words. Again, you want to make sure you limit it just so they pick those 2 juicy words for you. And obviously it's a lot easier to type in for them and quicker. What is that first impression you get on my website? Okay, tip number 7. I'll recap after this one. Number 7, practice. Practice. Practice makes perfect, right? And you're not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody is perfect on Periscope, but you get more perfect over time, like with anything, of course. And no, you don't need to put 10,000 hours in before you master this. This isn't anything like that. And again, this is more casual, but the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And so you just got to keep doing it. Got to keep doing it, and watch other scopes too. And while you're watching other scopes, determine what you like about them. Like, be conscious about what it is that is hooking you in. Or if you're watching a scope and you, for whatever reason, are just bored to death, ask yourself, well, why am I bored to death? What is it exactly that is making me not like this? Those two little simple questions with just a couple seconds of your thinking can really change the game for you and the scopes that you have to do as well. So engage, be engaging. Practice makes perfect, absolutely. Kimmer and I were talking about this earlier today on Skype. So keep doing that. Understand what you like and dislike about other scopes. And if you were really brave, you could watch your own scopes and start to criticize yourself, which is very brave but also very commendable, and I do this as well. Now, I watch my scopes over and over again. Not over and over again, I usually watch them, just the replay one time over, to see what the comments are that I missed. I mean, who knows, maybe one of these comments that somebody mentioned earlier could be a game changer for me, especially if I'm doing reverse Q&A type stuff. But then I go in and see, well, what are the hearts, where are the hearts coming in, and kind of just understanding what parts of the scope people enjoy the most. Like, I would love a tool, for any of those super developers out there, I would love a tool that would allow me to see a timeline of my scope and where the most hearts are coming in from in maybe a 30-second time frame. Like, oh wow, in this 30 seconds, I got more hearts than any other place in this scope. Let me go to those 30 seconds and see what I was talking about. Could you imagine how useful that would be? Now, that's why I don't ask for hearts typically in the middle of a Periscope, because when you ask for hearts, you get. And it's up to you whether you want to do that. You want to be that guy who asks for hearts, which isn't bad. It's great to do that. Hearts are social proof and those things like that. But I like to use them as a gauge to whether or not what I'm talking about with you guys is working really well. And I can see a bunch of hearts coming in now. Kimra doesn't ask for hearts either. Alex Petit says it's coming. That would be awesome. Alex is a great guy to follow. He has a lot of Periscope tips as well. So that's tip number 7. So let's recap before we get into 8, 9, and 10. Again, thank you guys for sticking with me. This is the most popular scope I think I've done. Over 200 people are still in the room today. And again, thank you guys for those of you who came in new. Make sure you follow at Pat Flynn here on Periscope, and also you can find me at smartpassiveincome.com or askpat.com. So number 1, make sure you interact with your audience. There's a number of different ways you can do that. You can ask questions, you can ask for a rating. So far, how would you rate this particular Periscope amongst other Periscopes that you've watched before? 1, terrible, worst I've ever seen. 10, one of the best ones I've ever seen. Where would you rate it right now? Again, I'm demonstrating this idea of engagement and interaction, and that's something you could do as well. And also, that's going to give me some great feedback whether or not you are enjoying this. You can ask people where they are from. Kimmer says 100,000, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Super helpful. Middle, 10, 10, 7. Thank you for the honesty. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. Okay, great. And also asking people for a specific answer will actually crack in a lot of engagement. Number 2, make sure you bring energy. Number 3, headline and image, things to be seen from. Number 4, equipment, smartpassiveincome.com/periscope-gear for all the equipment I use, like this cool lens, this microphone, tripod, all that good stuff. Number 5, move around, because people like to see your environment and what's going on and things around you. And that's the beauty of Periscope, so move around. Number 6, but don't give people a headache, that's for sure. I'm still looking for a great, what is it called? Glide cam or a glide tripod, one of the ones where you can move it around and it like is super smooth. That would be pretty awesome. I think Caleb Wojcik from DIY Video Guide might have one actually. Okay, number 6, specialized shows to help you with determining what kind of shows to create. Plan ahead of time. You can write bullet points and things like that, but there are different kinds of shows that could work very well too, like reading something out loud and then talking about it, an unboxing video, a behind the scenes video, a Q&A, and again a reverse Q&A, asking your audience questions that could actually help you. Hey, what's that first impression you have when you go to this landing page? Or what is the first thing that catches your eye when you visit this website? Man, that is incredible information. And number 7 that we talked about was practice. Okay, now, coming into the landing here, number 8, ask. Ask and you shall receive. So hearts. Yeah, this wasn't a good one. Now, I'm going to replace this one, because I've already talked about earlier, with another one that just came to mind. And that is, if you mess up, just keep going. If something isn't going the way it was planned, just keep going. And a lot of times, you don't even have to mention it. Now, I mention it for the purposes of sharing this as a demonstration, and here I am pivoting and trying to make up for what I had just done, which wasn't terrible, but again, I'm just repeating something I had already said, but just go with it, you know? And so the thing is, things are going to happen, you're not going to be perfect, and you just got to keep going. This is something I learned on stage, because I, for whatever reason, am very prone to technical difficulties, and then just keep going, and don't admit when you're wrong. I mean, here's a big pet peeve of mine. When people go up to speak on stage and they say, you know, I wish I had like 2 more hours to finish the slides. Why would you say that when you're on stage, right? Don't do that on a Periscope too. Don't start off by saying, hey guys, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I just thought I want to come on today because I want more hearts. No, don't do that. You just got to go. And don't admit when something is not going the way it should. Because people likely won't know until you tell them. Don't show them what you can't do. Exactly. Scope with a purpose. Oh, I love that. Scope with a purpose. Felicia, nice. Is I going to get that name right? Now I'm yawning. Stop, don't yawn. That's so funny, right? Mythbusters, I think, did that on their show and actually confirmed it. Okay, number 9, have a CTA. What is a CTA? Can you guys tell me what a CTA is? And again, this is going back to another tip. Ask your audience for what the answer is. And again, hopefully the connection is good and people don't have to wait very long. But what is a CTA? So Kara got it right. Look at all that. Call to action. Now, hopefully now that you are all seeing this right now, or over here, you won't forget this. You've got to have a call to action. So even before you finish a scope, or even before you start it, understand what is it that you want your viewers to do. Now, this is something that you can mention throughout the scope. This is something that you should absolutely mention at the end of your scope. And this is even something in a scope that you could mention in the beginning. It's not going to be completely invasive like maybe a 60-second sponsorship ad on a podcast. It doesn't sound like that. If you were just mentioning a call to action, you can do it multiple times. And I think people, like on Twitter, they understand that they might see the same message a few times, and it's okay. So you can share a message, but make one call to action. Make it very easy for people after they get off, no matter when they get off on the scope, whether it's in the middle or the end, they know what they should be doing. Now, hopefully there's some specific purpose or maybe a landing page that they can come to. And again, thank you for all the hearts, guys. I appreciate that. That's really cool. But for this one, I want you guys just to follow me. If you aren't following me on Periscope already, at Pat Flynn, or you can just swipe over and click my name, and you'll be able to follow me from there. So that's great. So again, we'll have one call to action. Make sure you do that, or else you're not wasting your time, because we're building a relationship here. I think that's really smart to do that. But yeah, following now. See, so we've already had one person take action. Jay Terrell, thank you so much for that. What's the leakage comment again? What's that lead pages comment again? What was the lead pages comment again? Oh, that wasn't me. That was you guys. See, the community does a great job of talking with themselves as well. Okay, so that's number 9. Tip number 9. Have a call to action. Make some purpose. I mean, maybe you're an entertainer and you don't have like a email list that you want to build. Well, how can you make sure that people will continue to follow you? Or maybe they want to follow you on Instagram, or maybe you have something really cool you want to share with them that you want them to do. So yeah, track and field. Evelyn says track and field. Go track and field on those hearts. That's what Chris Tucker says. I love that. Okay, so have a call to action. That's number 9. Number 10, this is a big one for a lot of you out there, because I've talked to a lot of you who have asked me, well, how are you enjoying Periscope? I'm not sure if I want to do it. I'm a little scared. It's weird being on live with people. Number 10, just hit broadcast. And I'll even be honest with you, before most of the scopes that I do, after I type in that headline, after I've spent about 5 minutes figuring out that perfect headline, it's not always a perfect headline, but just at least one that is purposeful. I delay a few extra seconds. I take a deep breath. Palms might be sweaty, and then you know what? I just say, screw it, go, and it just goes. So you got to hit. Yeah, the hardest and easiest one is to hit that Periscope button or that Broadcast Now button. You got to do that. So those are my 10 tips. I'm going to go through them one more time. I'm not going to describe the detail, because you can replay this if you'd like. 1, interact with your audience. 2, bring the energy, or else people are going to leave. Number 3, get seen by having a great headline and a great thumbnail image as well. Number 4, equipment, smartpassiveincome.com/periscope-gear. Number 5, move around. People like to see what's behind you. Number 6, specialized type shows. Number 7, you can create a whole bank of those that you want, actually. Number 7, practice and watch other scopes. Number 8, ask and you shall receive, which was not the one that I actually wanted to put. The one that I mentioned instead of that was actually just keep going. If you mess up, you will mess up, and that's okay. That is part of periscoping. That is part of reality. That is who you are. Not a failure, but you will fail. I fail all the time, and that's okay. That's part of it. Number 9, have a call to action. Number 10, just hit broadcast and go. So thank you guys for coming on and watching this. I appreciate you. And one of the other things I learned is that you just have to also click stop broadcast, because you could go on forever if you wanted to. These are very addicting. And you also want to be respectful for the people who are watching on the other end as well. So I hope this was a great scope. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for the last minute hearts here as I finish up in this last minute. And again, make sure to follow. This is my call to action. Follow me on Periscope, and I hope to see you in the next Periscope at Pat Flynn. If you're watching me on a replay, if you're watching me on the replay, actually, and this is something you should do, a couple side bonus tips for you, especially with the replays, because I've noticed that there are potentially hundreds of people that can watch the replay. Address your replay viewers. They're going to appreciate that. Thank you, replay viewers. And make sure that they know that they can also tap the screen to leave hearts as well. I mentioned that at the beginning. And actually, when you first start broadcasting, nobody's in the room. That's a perfect time for you to give a call to action in the beginning to your replay viewers. So when I start a scope, typically, and if you replay this, you'll see me. I wait a couple seconds and I say, hey, replay viewers, thanks for coming on. Just as a reminder, you can tap the screen to leave hearts even on a replay. And then everybody comes in. Perfect. And at the end, making sure to thank people who have watched all the way through. That's something I like to do as well. And when is the next show? I'm not sure. Typically I do these more sporadically, but I do know that the one consistent one that I do is on Sunday evenings. I said do. Sunday evenings for the recording, behind-the-scenes recording of Ask Pat. It's great to have maybe 1 or 2 consistent episodes that come out. I know Michael Hyde's doing one every day at the same time, which is insane, but also people know when it's coming. But I've asked the audience as well. People love the sporadic random ones too. So thank you guys for checking in. I appreciate you. Thanks for all the tweets that are coming out. I think Kathy just tweeted a whole bunch of notes from this scope, so I'm glad you guys got a lot out of this. Again, you can watch the replay. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Much love. Hashtag awesome. Hashtag Periscope. Hashtag see you next time. Bye. See you, Jeremy. By the way, should I record this on ScreenFlow and put it on YouTube? Is this a helpful one that I should be putting on YouTube? I feel like it is. Still 170 people in the room. I don't want to leave with a room full of 170 people. Yes. 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 Okay, great. I will do that. So I have 24 hours to do that because I'm going to go and get into some email copy right now, and then I'm going to go to bed and wake up feeling great because I'm going to have a big glass of water right before I go to bed and a big glass of water before I get up. Or as I get up. Sing. No, we'll save that one for later. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Peace. I don't use Catch.me, actually, because the replays don't show the comments in real time. I actually record these on ScreenFlow on my separate computer. You know, I could have had 40 tips, but I wanted to just narrow it down to 10 here. But another big tip is I record these if I want to save these, and I don't save them all and publish them all. But I have a specific YouTube channel. Here we go with bonus content. I have a specific YouTube channel that is for Periscope replays. I use ScreenFlow to record the whole screen. And I like recording ScreenFlow of the replay on Periscope, specifically through Periscope, not Catch.me, because on Periscope, the comments come in real time as they come out during the show. On Catch.me, the comments are on the side and they're scrollable, so they're next to the video. They can be scrolled through, but they're not in real time, so it doesn't really... Jay's like, okay, let's hang up together. Oh my gosh, man, that reminds me of high school and college and last week. But no, I'm just kidding.